pull into wherever you're pulling into to, oh my god, close your freaking door. I think most people, like, should not be allowed to drive. Just barely made it through an intersection, and then the person right in front of me, like, slowed down to, like, 5 miles an hour, nearly causing an accident, like, to turn. And she didn't have her blinker on. Like, try driving the speed limit, buddy. Anyways, I'm like, I hate people when I'm driving. Like, behind bus 49. 13. Death, yeah. Slow people. So anyways, I'm driving home, and yeah, thought I'd, I don't know, maybe see what comes up and talk about it. I don't have my other phone with me, so I don't have music going on in the background to kind of like guide the conversation, but we'll just see. What should I talk about? The last song that was on was the New Radicals, You Get What You Give. And I thought of the escalator, like things escalating or de-escalating. But also how, like, maybe this sounds silly, but like how an escalator, the ridges in it, or however it, you know, moves, that's different from stairs. You know, how it kind of like, each step sort of like meshes into the next one as it goes up further. Maybe that makes sense on a different level. That's something interesting to look into, like the escalators and their, how they work, kind of like the mechanics, maybe just diagrams of it would be a cool starting point for like pleating pattern. He also says having like a reason to live in that, like, and I thought of how in order to want to create anything or do anything, you need some sort of, I mean, people usually call it inspiration or motivation or drive to accomplish something, but yeah, it's like you just need one reason to maybe visualize something or see something, create something, do something, and yeah, it speaks to, like, I guess on a broader, like, their motivation, like, what is it that, and if you think of it in terms of God, like, what was his motivation for creating the universe? And the Bible says, like, he was lonely. But maybe that's just a metaphor for the need to, like, however you believe the universe started, to, like, sort of replicate or procreate or expand. It's talked about it in a lot of different ways, like the need to see something reflected back to you in order to know that it's real, in order to exist. So I think of, like, the division of molecules, and you get what you give, almost literally in a way. There's all sorts of metaphors in case people don't catch them, like visual metaphors, like even in the, Disney animated playlist, Cinderella and like the bubbles, and then that's in God only knows song, Kylie Minogue and a bubble, like just so many different visual metaphors for explaining things that I don't really have the terminology for, like, just whether it's right or wrong, it's kind of more just to show my views on or ideas on how things, possibilities, ways of looking at the world and creation and the creative process, and just down to the basis, the base level of like, why do you want to create something? Why is it that what's your reason? And maybe even on a really broad context, like sort of wavelength, looking at the reasons for different scientific type things and then translating that into some sort of artistic kind of or whatever it is that you work in. There's so many possibilities, so it's kind of just like, and it's endless, so it's just like, what's most important, I guess, and if you go to the biggest way of looking at things, or search for things that are unanswered questions, you go to the lengths, the furthest you can think of to go. I guess you start to wonder, like, what else is there, and everything else, all the mundane stuff is just so superfluous. And that's not to say that you don't get caught up in the sort of, the details, the daily kinds of things that maybe distract from seeing the bigger picture. But if you don't know what the bigger picture could be, it's easy to get caught up in it. So I feel like it's always like the search for something that expands your views, I guess. Like a springboard or a trampoline. It's like an arts center kind of thing, just in a different, and how it's, it stretches, it expands, and it has at the edges kind of, the bungee cord kinds of things that keep it attached to some sort of stable, like, so that you can bounce on it, as those being the rods or the rays or the need to put something into some sort of structure in order to understand its potential, or its are you trying to get run over? Like, people so dumb. Structure in order to realize something, and be able to understand its components. I don't really know what I'm saying right now. Just kind of babbling brook. What song is that from? That's a line from a song. Pizza place I'm just passing. I don't know if you can even hear me because I have this like slight issue with it. See if that even works. My phone's too big. That's what he said. Oh my god. Yeah, I don't know how people expect me to do things to my full potential without knowing what I have to work with and what the facts are and things, and that speaks more to like government kind of things, and yeah, that's not gonna work. Oops. Holder kind of thing. Am I still recording? I think so, yeah. Sorry to whoever I just like honked at. Yeah, it's just like operating in the dark, and it does all like, I guess, best times that I'm like most proficient at predicting things, or things are most accurate when I'm not trying so much, and it comes through in your art and through what you feel and things like that. But so it feels like an obligation, I guess, to share what I'm thinking and what's going through my feeling and stuff, because that's the most telling, but it's also like super personal and embarrassing sometimes, and I just feel like, I don't know, and people kind of sometimes exploit that or whatnot, and it's like, all right, I'm not trying to help you anymore, like, and people just fail to see the bigger picture all the time, and understand what it takes, and how much like thought, might seem like I'm not doing anything, but like how much thought it takes to like try to put things together that I don't really actually know what's going on, or why certain things are happening, or who's behind these collaborations and things, that, or what the fuck people are trying to tell me, and just try to put things together without knowing any sorts of facts, and just going on what I can find online, and how much energy I have, and put them together in some way that applies to everyone, and because now people expect things, and it's just kind of like, I don't know. I mean, it's just all so interwoven that like it's so hard to say, like, but I see so many commercials and things like that that are stemming from what I put together, and that's, like I said, like in terms of art, it's important that what you do, whatever it is that you do, does apply to people. I mean, what's the point otherwise? But at the same time, like, there are things that are, I don't think it was ever really my intention to, go be some sort of free open source for everyone to like come get their creative ideas from, like, because that in itself, like, it's frustrating when you're struggling and everyone's making money off of you that like are already well off and doing fine, and you're like, yeah, I know I can help you and I'd love to, and it's like, at what point do you say, like, I can't do this for free? I'm a human being, I need to fucking live, like, and then on top of that, people, at the very least people can do is like say thank you, or like acknowledge you by name, or say this was inspired by this person and what they do and how they see the world, instead of just claiming it as your own freaking ideas, because they're not. And I think, it's just so like understand and not just be like going off of what you see on Instagram or whatever, and then they don't respond to you, and you're just like, all right, so what the fuck am I doing? Like, why? Like, I truly believe that none of you are that great that you can't, like, take 2 seconds to respond to someone. And that goes for, like, all the people that I've, tried to make amends with over miscommunications or over their own, like, horrible treatment and idiotic behavior, and, like, still reaching out to them and can't even be a decent human being and, like, acknowledge someone that you have severely, like, either hurt or misinformed or confused or used or have been inspired by, like, it's just like, treat someone with some respect and decency, like, you don't have to be embarrassed that you're freaking following me. Everyone is, like, and that's not to, like, toot my own horn. Like, it's either that or I have some sort of crazy power that, like, somehow everything I do and every word I speak and every decision and choice I make somehow applies to everyone in the entire world, and maybe it's partly true, but, like, yeah. And I just don't know how to get out of it, because, I should say, like, part of me is, like, feels a responsibility if I do know something is going to happen, but it doesn't exactly work like that, and I don't think anyone knows how it works, truly, because it's, different sometimes from time to time, and each incident is different from time to time, so it's hard to exactly know. But in terms of, like, defense and police kind of stuff, like, letting them know if, like, I think something's going to happen, yeah, of course, but that's not really how it works. I don't typically have, like foreknowledge of, like, some horrible event. I can usually feel the stress and anxiety, though, and just know that something's off, but then it requires me to take time and energy to do a reading and put together all the details and playlists, and, like, time is valuable. Like, would you spend your time at your job if you weren't getting paid? Like, if you weren't able to sustain yourself? Like, no, you wouldn't. And there's something to be said about just, like, doing things out of the goodness of your heart. Yeah, maybe more on a spiritual level or something like that. But it's just kind of, like, ridiculous, the amount of expectations that people have now. I just feel like I've given so much and so much energy and effort and what it really is like to feel the weight of all of that. And maybe you didn't do enough or all of that. I don't think anyone really, like, because it's so dependent on using your intuition and knowing when to do a reading and all of these things that, like, you just have to be so aware all the time. And it's not, say you're a police officer, you get a call, yeah, then it's your duty, but you're, like, waiting on, usually, like, to be clearly informed, whereas with what I'm doing is, like, it's all on me. And if I don't do a reading, like, and don't, and then something happens and I know that it's directly related, or I could have, like, put something up because it was on my mind, but I just, didn't know to what extent or to what context it applies, and say I could have, like, maybe helped prevent something by alerting people, but it's just kind of like no one has any clue what it, like, is like to constantly be, like, weighing what to do and what is, there's no guidebook, and no one, like, gives you, like, actual verbal, like, direct feedback, or, and so then you go crazy because you're like, does that apply to me? I don't know. And maybe I'm just, like, you stop yourself from thinking that something is directed at you because you don't want to be like, everything applies to me, and read into things that have nothing to do with you. But then, I don't know, and then you feel like people are like, I told you, and you're like, no one, I have not gotten an email, a phone, nothing, like, I don't know what people expect of me. Like, I can't read minds. Like, it's something that I think is worth trying, like telepathy kind of stuff, and experimenting with, and practicing what comes through, depending on your different environments and who you're talking to or directing your thoughts at or something. But nothing is like clear. I'm not like some freaking mind reader that's like I don't know. And for what I'm like, oh, don't worry, I just inspired like summit talks and whatnot, but like no one, like, I don't know. I'm just like, you don't have to like protect or block people from, at the very least, you could like a freaking video. Like, I mean, people are just so fucking self-centered, and you're just like, I am doing so much, and it's really not to my own horn, but I see what happens. I see the difference when I don't do things and when I do, and when people are paying attention or not, like, and it's just like, and people make it so difficult, and prey on your, what obviously are like insecurities or things, sensitive topics or something, whatever it is, they prey on it because they can exploit it, and they have no idea what I've done for them and what I can take away from not doing anything further for them, like, it's like, fuck you. I'm like telling my like life story so that I can help prevent things that may affect you, and you fucking bitches are like using it to like make yourselves look better and make others and put me down. And just like, fuck you. What kind of person? Like, I don't know. And then these same people that are so like exploitive and are just completely ignorant of what I'm doing here are praised when you Google them. You're like, or you know what I mean? And people are like so nice, and they're just like this and that, they're so beautiful, blah blah blah. And then no one fucking stands up for you when you know you're in the right. Like, that bitch stole your, like, truly think she was the devil. The devil went down to Georgia. That's probably why they lost. So I was trying to do something good for people and try to like get, with everyone, sharing the signs that I was seeing, and saying that I have a feeling that, and it was up until like, they were ahead. Trying to help people get disposable, because I thought healthcare might like become an issue. And so it's like when you try to do good things, like there's always like forces that come up against you, and even people like that aren't necessarily bad are used, and so because they're not aware, are used to help promote those bad things, or perpetuate the problems, or whatever. They're put up obstacles, I guess, and make you feel defeated. It's very much like a spiritual, or whatever you want to call it, battle. And it always happens very apparently to me. I remember, like, I adopted a cat my senior year of college, and I came home. No, my senior, yeah. I came home from New York for Christmas, and following Christmas, and this cat that I like raised had like turned crazy in front of me, and I don't even know how all this happened. But at the same time, like, my dad had brought in someone who needed a place to stay over the holidays. It was a homeless homeless person basically, and he was being rehabilitated, and the better he got, the crazier this cat got. On 2 separate instances, I was holding him one time, and he turned around in this like possessed cat kind of way and latched onto my face and wouldn't let go with his claws. And I looked like something out of like a horror flick. My face was completely ripped up, and she was like the sweetest cat too. And then another time, I didn't know that my mom had put him in one of the bathrooms, and I went into that bathroom and was about to do some makeup or something, and all of a sudden this psycho cat, jumps out from behind like a door, and from like the entire length of the bathroom, from where he was to where I was at the sink, like he jumped in the air and latched onto my wrist and punctured a vein in my wrist. And to go to the hospital, but then of course, like on the way there, like all these obstacles were put in place. Like the car ran out of gas. It was not even our car. It was a friend of the family who was with us, and then the ambulance was stalled or something. It had a flat tire, and I finally got there, and they're like, we can't do anything besides give you like, you know, medication so you don't get like, because cat bites and things like that are like some of the most really, really poisonous, I guess. But it's not like you can like stitch up a vein. So I looked like I had committed suicide. Tried to. I had like, you know, wrapped up wrist and a scratched up face. I looked really rough for New Year's Eve. And it was so painful. Like I couldn't even stay out. And all these other things kept happening. I just remember my mom like saying to my dad, like, you have to stop helping this guy, because the better he got, I don't know. She was like, you have to stop because it's hurting her. Like, I did stop once things went back to normal, like schedule-wise, and but yeah, it's just kind of like pay attention to like why you're doing things and why others are doing things, and look at their motivations and intentions. Most people are pretty like insecure and out for themselves, like, unfortunately. So I try my hardest to always like tell the truth, or like give examples, or show like evidence of something or whatever, just to like further my credibility, because I don't lie about these things. I may not say everything, you know, it's kind of somewhat out of protection for people, I guess, and what's really important, you know, pick your battles kind of thing. But you know, I don't want people to be afraid to like reach out to me, because I can't do what I'm doing without like it's so tiresome and confusing, and I feel like people could easily clear things up, and are missing out on opportunities and missing out on the good things, because they just are maybe afraid or unwilling to, like, you know, take initiative or clarify things, or you know, and it just becomes very selfish to me, because I'm like, how long do you want me to wait for you to like understand that, like, I've known that you've been following me for like however long, certain people, certain places, and like whatnot. You don't have to like play coy, you know, like you don't have to treat me like an alien either. Like, I'm a freaking human being. I just found some way to like tap into what's happening and have my own views and ideas about things that I think are fun to explore. But you know, you can't make someone feel like a ghost or a shell and just like completely exploit those things either. And like because everything is so involved and so interwoven, and there's reasons that I do everything. So to look at the bigger picture and understand, like, this story or idea I told isn't necessarily for your use or benefit. I usually try to make it clear when, like, you should do something, or that would be a, for you or something. But otherwise, like, you just start to make someone feel like a ghost in their lives. Like, that's my story. I'm sorry. It's what memories and time and all these things, that's what make up our life. You can't just steal people's memories. You can't steal their experiences, like, the OA or something. Like, I did have an out-of-body experience. It was so strange, and I remember sleeping on I'd fallen asleep on the couch, and in my, I had a body experience, and I was aware of that. I was almost like yelling at myself, but I could almost see it in front of me. It was like your shadow pulled out or something. I was saying get out, screaming, get out. And then I started to wake up on the couch, and I dove back into my body. It's never happened again. I think it was maybe just a dream, but so strange. I just I have to know also who I'm speaking to, so that things don't get confused, and things have so many different meanings and underlying meanings, and sometimes it's just for fun. Sometimes I just like a song, but yeah, creepy. My garage door is open, and it looks like a shadow person inside. There's this big well behind my garage. I think it's a well or some sort of, it's probably the length of it's probably 2.5, 3 feet wide diameter or something. It's weird. Anyways, I'm not trying to I don't know. It's so confusing, because I'd like to say certain things to certain people, and then it gets confused because people, and myself included, take things personally, not knowing where things are directed or in what context. And I'm trying my best to make it clear, but and people can make your life so much easier and help you feel legitimized in a way, because otherwise you just make people feel invisible when you don't acknowledge where certain impulses or ideas or inspirations or something came from, because that's what I'm trying to build here is, a creative hub, and these are my ideas, and I try to give credit to where I, the combinations of things that I've put them together from, but at this point I'm just kind of why do I even try? Because no one else does it, it's kind of you get what you give, I guess. And it's just I love certain things that people have done, and I wish I could thank them. I don't know why or to who I should. And so in that case, these words don't apply. Some of the songs, some of the fashion campaigns and things those things are, it's kind of the point. But at a certain point, you have to turn it into a working business. You can't expect people to and I know people are recording the videos or embedding them or something, because this is ridiculous. I can't turn on the TV, or I just don't understand. And so it's to a point where you start to feel are people trying to tell you something? But nothing's ever confirmed. It's you never know where you're operating from, and it's maddening, because you don't want to think you're the center of the universe. But when all of your ideas just go out there, it has something to do with bullshit or something. I mean, it's just and it's not to dismiss people that you've built creative connections with either, because in that case this doesn't apply. But it's just when it's obvious you're looking for certain clarity or why are, and help too, to turn something into a more like functioning platform business, or, I don't understand how to use like a lot of things that would, it's so overwhelming. And you try to like just, but it's like you're looking out for everyone. It's like, who's looking out for you? And if they really wanted to, they would try to do everything to make you feel more comfortable and with what you're doing and who you're talking to, by just like actually acknowledging you or talking to you directly, or following up with what they, but instead they just kind of make you feel crazy by, and I just like, some people are just really, I don't know. And what I wish for more than anything is just to have someone who's pretty much seen this from the beginning, at the very least, like the last year or something, like, but who's been along for the ride, since all this sort of started, who like believes you, and that you can like at least talk to, or be like, that makes life feel real, I guess, because they also have seen it too, and have watched or followed and see the progression and see how things have kind of taken off, and can help you not feel crazy, because they witnessed it, or things have happened to them that legitimize it, or what I've done here, or speaks to them, and they have stories themselves that make you, that they could tell or something. So all of this seems more real, and maybe give a reason why, or like from what point they've been, or just because life just seems like some big dream when things are this sort of like surreal, and things just keep happening. I can't even keep track anymore. If I could have anything, I would just have someone to talk to that had also seen this happen and believes you and understands, I guess. There's a lot I don't know, especially about like politics and policies, and a lot of things that I know, the things I put up speak to, but maybe it's better not to have any sort of feedback or something. You just do things, but I don't believe that, and I know that it's like slowly crushing me, to not have some sort of someone in your actual life to like who believes you, and not even my parents follow me, so I don't think they have any clue. I think they just think I'm a failure because my little brother told me. And they just see the bad things, like that, all these fluke things that, like I said in my Aries video, like aren't your fault, but look bad. Usually trying to do something with good intentions, and you get in trouble for it. So most people just see that, and it's things that people say to you that just stick with you forever, and are then too much of a coward to like try to correct or something. Just try to legitimize people in whatever way you can and everything, you know, and like acknowledge people, because I think that's, you know, just being more aware. And you know, I am thankful for the people that have been supportive. I just don't know exactly who or what, you know. It's just also confusing because, again, it's like I just feels unbalanced in a way, and it really isn't, you know, my responsibility. I'm sure there's other people out there that could potentially have like psychic kind of gifts and could be like doing something at least similar to, like, you know, but people just, it just doesn't seem to matter as long as like what I say or do helps solve like the Russia thing, or you know, other potential crises. And if you want someone to do that and to give up their life and sacrifice their stories and their privacy, and so I know like my car's been, you know, there's no way otherwise, and give up privacy, and then it's just like you gotta make it worth someone's while. Like, no one is like just a shell to like be used for their experiences in order to help you or prevent something, you know. Like, that goes beyond just like your duty for being a good citizen. If you see something, say something, you know. It's just kind of like, come on. And I just, you know, it's all these idiots in the government. They're costing taxpayers thousands and are so fucking selfish and are such like disgusting people, and they have a salary, and you're like, oh, don't worry about me, I'm just like preventing terrorist attacks and giving up my entire life, like, you know. And I would love for someone to at least like be here to like support or at least clarify things or make it a little easier, or make it like, you know, someone feel not used when your life stories show up in like movies and things, and you're just kind of like, fuck everyone. Why the fuck? Why would I ever continue? Like, really, it's just out of a guilty conscience, basically, if I don't. And to some extent, I like and to see the creative stuff build, but you also can't do that forever. It's like, imagine if people knew that like Leonardo da Vinci was going to be Leonardo da Vinci, like when he was alive. People would study his every move, and that's what people are doing. And it's just fucking like, I don't think I ever thought things would get to this point, but people could make it at least a little bit like easier on you by not making you feel crazy, basically. And yeah, I mean, just keep paying all those idiots in government like money that they don't deserve and that they're abusing and all these things, and don't worry, I'm just like here for mankind, and you can't even acknowledge my name, like, basically. And that's what it comes down to, like, because it's not always about the money, it's not always about, you know, just acknowledgement. Sometimes you don't want to be acknowledged for things like you know, so it's just such a combination of things. So it's just like about treating someone as you would a colleague, or someone that is doing things, you know, the same way they always have, and you know, it's easy to understand or whatnot. Like, sorry, it's complicated. The best things like are complex in their detail and all that. Like, sorry, you know, you want someone to help like in all these different ways. Well, yeah, it's going to be complicated and it's going to be difficult to understand, but that's why it's worthwhile, and that's why I deserve to have, you know, be supported the same way you support your freaking government officials. I've probably done more in this year than like most people. It's beyond me why people think it's just like okay to just never acknowledge someone's name or never, you know, talk directly to them, and never, like, when obviously I'm responsible for all this shit, like, and yeah, people are on board, and I'm thankful for that, and I think some people have gone above and beyond, like, what, and I don't know, you know, it's like, how can I be grateful for something that I don't know about, or how it came about, or who it is, you know? It just, at a certain point, it's like, yeah, you can maintain some sort of sense of gratefulness, but at the same time, it's making you go crazy, and you want to be able to, like, thank those who have been supportive and been on, you know, behind you and all that. So, but you can, and then it just gets all confused, and then I don't ever want to insult people that have been kind, and that, you know, I'm not saying that, like, it's just, it's beyond me. I can't think of anything else that speaks to this many, like, levels and industries and events and everything, and the fact that you can't exactly put it in a box or name it or whatever it is that you think I do, like, doesn't mean that you can't, like, pay someone for the effort that they put in, or acknowledge them, or that kind of thing. You know, you can't use that as an excuse, basically. And I'm not just here to provide you with an answer to fill in the blank of your magazine interview, you know, like, yeah, so, like, this is so much bigger than that, and, but I could easily just, like, sort of, part of me just has fun making playlists, so that's annoying, like, because if I don't keep this up, I'd be, like, annoyed that I can't just keep making playlists, but, like, I'll just start a new account, I guess, but, like, but yeah, I'm sure, like, you know, everything's being, so it doesn't even matter, so I could just, you know, walk away and ignore all the thoughts that come to me, ignore all the things that pop in my head, and not do it, you know. And it's not like a threat, I'm just saying these are the options, and people better, like, I don't know, step up and be like, treat someone who is doing so much for them. Like, I'm not trying to be a martyr, but it's like, this is ridiculous. I'm doing so much I can't even keep track, and you have to, like, help someone, not, like, I mean, you wouldn't send someone into battle not being able to see, like, I mean, this is ridiculous, and I could be doing so much more and so much better also too if I had help, if I had the facts, and had something to live on, and it wasn't like, you know, just completely isolated. Yeah, I could do such a better job, because a lot of things happen when I do, like, go out and encounter things. People treat you like a complete, like, isolated leper, basically. I don't know. It's just like, something has to change, because it's, like, beyond me at this point. And, or I can just, like, you know, only do it and not really care, and just kind of put things together however, and, you know, yeah, art's supposed to speak to people, but, like, when it's also providing everyone with, like, an income, like, come on, like, that's not fair. And yeah, I just wish I had some idea of where people just love to keep you in the dark, because they think that you're, like, it's not how it works. It comes through in the readings, it comes through in, like, just intuitive thoughts and things like that. I don't know, you know, especially people that aren't right in front of me. I don't know everyone behind things, and, like, connections, and who's doing, like, you know, like, You can't just say, oh, well, we don't have to say anything because she's apparently psychic. Like, fucking kids, like, I don't know, like, just all these excuses, I feel like, and, yeah, it gets so frustrating at a certain point, because you don't want to dismiss the nice things that people have done, but it's changed now, and things need to change, and this has to evolve somehow if people want me to keep doing things that, because otherwise, like, you just kind of have to, like, walk away and live your life or something, because it is so draining. And frustrating when people don't, I don't know. And I just don't know what the point is, like, when people are trying to tell me something, like, especially when they, like, repeat words back to you or something, like, okay, great, yeah, great, thanks, I'm glad you're following or something. I don't know what else you're trying to tell me here, like, you know, and, don't make me more confused, don't make me more, like, have another thing to have to figure out, like, I'm exhausted. Like, you want to get something across to me, just talk to me, like, it's that simple, really, it's that simple. You hear something straight from the horse, and you know what you're doing, like, and, yeah, then you don't have such a reason to question, second guess yourself, and, like, all these factors that contribute to the confusion that I'm in right now, that I'm sure is, like, somehow, like, I don't know, I feel like people are so oblivious. And or just want to be too, because then they don't have to, like, take responsibility for anything. It's not on them. They don't have to do anything. You know, like, it's on someone else to talk to her. I don't know. And it's just so beyond frustrating when you see, like, you know what you're doing, and you know what you have to offer, and who you are, and how strong you are, and things like that, but then you see, you know, these guys go for, like, on a love level, you see these guys go for these, like, bitchy, like, I don't know, kinds of boring ass people, and you're just kind of like, who enjoy harassing me, by the way. I'm really not trying to be a victim, I'm just saying the facts as I know them, and if you think that's me victimized, I just would love for people to clear things up so I don't have to feel like I'm helpless or something. Yeah, I'm just kind of like, God, are all guys cowards, and don't they recognize, like, someone who's actually, like, worth spending time and energy on, like, yeah. And so it's at a certain point when everyone walks away from you, no one is willing to, like, talk to you. You're just like, wow, am I that unlovable? Like, I didn't think I was, but you're all proving that to me. Like, I don't know. And then if that's the case, like, wow, what do these girls have? Because, like, yeah, you're an accountant. Like, that's all I knew about that girl, but, like, because I really don't care to spend energy again on, like, investigating things anymore, especially people that I think are not worthwhile. It's like, that doesn't make you smart or anything. It means that you can, like, count numbers, and you're a bitch, and you scream out the window and harass me, and someone who's only been, like, kind to, yeah, it's kind of like, wow, don't punish me because you don't think that you deserve something better, you know? Don't punish me by, like, you know, not talking to me or trying to date me or something because you think you don't deserve it or something, which is what someone told me. Like, freaking step up and, like, show me, you know? Like, You should be with someone who inspires you to be a better person, not people that are like petty little girls, you know? I can't even like explain to you what a difference and change a person I've been since I was like the age of these girls that I'm talking about. Like it's just so, I don't know. I mean, I know that like guys are apparently like less mature than girls, but like still, like, don't you, it starts with you too. It's like, do you value maturity? Do you value someone who is emotionally grown, who's like selfless, who wants to make the world a better place? Do you value those things, or do you value like the fact that that person like strokes your ego, because you think that you have, I don't know. These people are just cowards, And if you're not, then show me you're not, you know what I mean? Like, just because I say something doesn't make it true, but it's my perspective as of now, and I would love for it to be changed. I don't want to believe those things, so like, yeah, feel free to, like, I don't know how many times I have to say it, like, yes, yes, I know you're following me. Yes, I've extended open invitation. Yes, I know who you are. Yes, like, it's just kind of like, what more do you want me to say, and why don't you just like, yeah, be the guy that like, I don't know, I'm just like, what are we waiting for here? Like, I don't know, for you to get some balls and confidence, like, I don't know, that applies to pretty much every guy I've ever dated, like, like, just freaking take the lead, and like, I have enough to worry about, like, alright, so, anyways, hope you enjoyed that, bye.